Hi. For section two, we're going to talk about the architecture of FGA, and we're going to dig in more on that side. So the first thing I want to talk about it is how the architecture looks like. And it's pretty much the same as Okta CIC. So you're usually going to have um, uh, in the same region, um, three replication from the environment. And we do also offer across region replication. So you have replication in the same region three times, and then across region replication as well. So if the whole region went down, the other region will pick in. Currently, we do only have public cloud offering for FGA. In the future, we're going to come with the private offering. And the public offering is the same as the public as Okta CIC, which is on AWS. So you always going to have the user application, the the load balancer usually will decide which region to send the user to based on their location. And usually when the user gets sent to one region, they're going to stick to that region. We're going to know the reason why we're doing this in the next slide. But that's pretty much how it works. You have load balancer that forward the request to either region. Inside each region, you have um, replication three, like in the same region you have a replication three time. So that's how we can offer the high availability. And also FGA has the 4 nines SLAs. Latency is actually tested less than 50 milliseconds. For compliance, we do have the socket 2 type 1. And for the regions that we are available in, we are available in US, UE, and AU for now. All right. So on the next thing, I want to actually talk about caching. So if you recall in the first slide, I was talking about when the users start their request with a specific regions, they're going to stick to that region. And the reason is the replication between the region doesn't happen immediately. So it takes time to do the replications, usually seconds. It's actually around the caching is usually around 20 seconds. And that's why when the users start request and get handled by one region, they're going to stick to that region until they finish their session. So that's what we're trying to do. And as I mentioned, the caching layer into FGA takes around 20 seconds to update. So basically, if I am on region one and I did a write API call to add data, this data won't be available on region two for around 20 seconds. And that's why the request of the same user will stick to one region to make sure it's up to date. All right. One thing actually, as you guys know, if you went now online and you actually created a trial license, you're not going to have this SLAs. This is mainly for enterprise tiers. So customer who bought and they get this LICs. And as just remember, this is very flexible. So if you have a customer that will have a use case that require more API rate, you can always talk to Andres, the product managers, and we're actually very flexible to change that. But that's the default that we do have right now. So we do have 500 check per second. So basically, your application can call FGA 500 times per second to check on permissions. So we can handle that. If you want to actually read data, so we have up to 100 requests per second. Write data, which is you can add data, it's 150 requests per second. But remember, when you add data into the platform, you can add it as a JSON object with certain data, like a data to add. Every line will add a permission or a relationship. And we're talking details about this when we go to the modeling, but basically in each request, you can add 40 data. So per second, you can add 40 multiplied by 150 data line per second, right? The rest we can go through it more in details once we get in the modeling so you can understand what's list object, what's expand, and those are all APIs that we're using it. But the main API you'll be asked for is the check API because that's basically what FG is used for. So it's the default is 500 requests per second. So you can call FGA 500 times to check the permissions. If you were asked about the latency, see latency is usually less than 50 milliseconds. All right. The final thing is how, if I'm using Okta CIC and I have FGA, how data gets synced. In the future, we're actually going to have an automated process to do syncing data between the two platforms, but currently it's going to happen through the action. So if a user sign up, you can actually call the post user registration, or if you're adding user manually inside the database in Auth0, you can actually create an event where end user get added. It will call, this event will call FGA API. So either using the events or the actions in FGA to call FGA, in Okta CIC to call FGA APIs. And then in FG APIs, you can add the user that just got added into Okta CIC inside FGA and assign permission to that user using the post action. And as I said, in the future, there's a plan to make the two platform more out of the box integrated, but currently to do it is using the post action, and that's by calling FGA APIs. All right, thank you.